Hello everyone! So I'm glad that you've stopped by here, whether you be a flutist, a future music educator, or somebody who's clicked on too many links. I'm Caleb Fouts, and I am a future music educator of America, and for many of you who are on this page now, you know that I am a flutist, and I'm making my way every day to improve on it. So in this video, I'm going to be doing an instruction on how I would lead my students' first day with the flute. This is going to involve opening the case, putting together the instrument, setting up the body, discussing the embouchure a little bit, and just making the first sound on the head joint. So, I'm glad that you're here, and let's get started with the day. So, cases are very important for our instruments as they keep them safe and protected from the weather, from drops, and unfortunately, sometimes occurrences happen when we are opening the case that leads to the things that they're supposed to prevent. So I have two examples of cases that your students might walk in with. So I have your standard flute case with the latches. You can see that the latch pulls upward, and the direction in which the latch pulls upward, that means this is the bottom. So bottom is opposite the direction of the latch. And you want to just be aware that your student knows that. And sometimes we are very blessed and they come with logos on the top of them, which are very beneficial. If you can encourage your students to find ones that have that just when they're starting off so they know they're opening correct, that would be great. But this is just one example, and I will introduce him. He is my beginning Armstrong. He has been retired to a marching band flute, so you know, great things to come from everyone. And then I have Sarah the Sonkyo, which is my current professional flute, and she is a case that has latches that push to the outer sides, and she has a logo that marks that this is the top of the case. However, some of them will not have that, and they will be just a plain black, like chic look. And for them, you can identify that this has a rounded part on it, and this kind of bows up a little bit while this is flat, intending for the flute to rest. So you would simply rest it on you and open it. And I'm going to do my demonstration with it. So case is flat. We're going to face it towards ourselves so we can properly see the instrument. And we're just going to pop the latches outward and then lift up. And now we are presented with our flute. So the flute comes in three sections. We have our little baby part, the foot joint. Then we have our body, which is like the biggest part of it. And then we have our head joint, which is really what produces our sound. So I'm sure you're looking at this and you might have an idea of how to put it together. And a lot of people figure out by themselves, but I have a play-by-play on how to do it. So if you would like to start, take your body, the biggest part, and you will notice that these keys, if you hold it like this, there's a logo on the top part where we connect the head joint later on. And there's this little connector part in here where we connect the foot joint. Now, if you will take your foot joint and the bar that connects these little keys here, as you can see, we want to line it up with the center of this key. This will allow us to set up some proper hand posture here in a little bit. That is very key in making sure that there is complete relaxation and functionality. So now we have this. Pretty impressive, right? And we are now going to attach the head joint. Now, the easiest way to set up your head joint is to find this logo, look down it from this angle, and you will notice the logo typically aligns with these keys, which is a good guide for your head joint to align it centered with that. So you can take this and make sure that this tone hole is aligned with the centers of the keys. As you can see, it goes straight down like a path. Now, I will say that everybody plays different, and this is just a good generic recipe. Some of us may have to adjust by rolling in, rolling out, but for right now, this is a good starting point. Okay, so now we have this flute. How do I hold it, right? So, take your flute, you can rest it in your lap securely, meaning that your lap is flat and it will not move, or you can do as I'm going to do, and you can use a flat surface to lay it against this part of the body so no keys are touching. Precisely. So, if you will do this little demonstration with me, take your arms and just let them flat out like this. Notice that if you look at your hand, it's kind of curved. And if you look from this angle, it makes a little C. That's very natural, it's very relaxed. So, if you look at the other hand, same concept, right? So we want to apply that to the flute, this natural curve process. So if we're going to hold our hand, this is your right hand that controls the lower half of the body and foot joint. We want to keep it relaxed. We're going to take our thumb, find the first key here. You can see it's right next to one of your little trill keys. It's 3 up from the foot joint. And you want to take your thumb and put it on the back part of the body where that key is. And kind of press your thumb into it. And then you'll notice that these 3 fingers wrap around like a little bear claw perfectly on these, and your pinky has perfect room to rest down here. Great, right? And now you can take the same concept and you can take this little bear claw, and there's a lever system back here that your thumb is just designed to be there for. Great, right? And so you can take that and you can then rest the inside of your index finger along this part and allow it to wrap around to this key right here. And then we're gonna go, nope, not there. Skip 1, and this will be 2, and then 3, and then we have your pinky resting happily again. Great stuff, right? So, now that we know how to properly hold this, for anyone who is beginning and feels a little uncomfortable, it is perfectly acceptable for you to just press down all the keys while you're holding it. Just lightly do it. Don't be like a little death grip. Nobody wants that. So lightly hold on to your flute, and I want you to center it in your body like this. Let your elbows kind of relax, just calm down. And now very gently, I want you to only use your forearm and wrist and bring it up to you. Okay, and you're going to rest it in this little crease right here, right below your bottom lip, okay? So just rest it there. You can let this arm dangle, but make sure that this arm is well supported. Then bring this one up. And now here's what we're going to really focus on. I want you to imagine that your elbows have these sacks of sand that are so heavy that gravity is just dragging your elbows down. Oh. And now, remain your posture again. Notice that the flute truly rests on the power of the wrist. And pushing forward with that thumb that we have, we're going to push the flute forward just a little. And we're going to bring ourselves to the flute a little bit. So we have brought our head to it. Elbows down, relaxed. Alright, and you have a generic setup. So, what did we learn there? We learned elbows down to the ground and relaxed. Our bear claws have a natural fit by curving around on the flute. And our wrists are our support. And now we're going to talk a little about the head joint in your sound and what all is happening here. So, the head joint, crazy little thing. You can do so much on it without the body. Fun, right? But, you know, it takes time to really get to that part. And first we have to know how we set up our body for it. So, generically, if you can just take the head joint, look at your tone hole. There's a big old part right here, the lip plate. We want to take that, brush it right under here, roll it in a little bit to where we can barely feel the edge of that tone hole against our lip. See if you can't see that a little better. See, it's just resting. And that's kind of the bottom setup right there. Now, for those of you who might be struggling with this, I actually have an example that has helped me a lot develop my muscles and how all this is really working. So if you can come with me here and look at Mr. Coffee Pot. Mr. Coffee Pot has a beautiful flute on the shirt. If you will analyze with me, think of this top black part as the top lip. It is set, it's not doing much, it's literally set. And if you can think of right here as kind of the ridge where your teeth is, it's just kind of resting flat against that. Now if you come here to this little pitcher part where the coffee comes out, we can think of this as our bottom lip, which is a crucial part in flute playing. It is so important that this bottom lip is completely relaxed. Like whenever you have your flute there, you should be able to go make all kinds of crazy sounds and movements with it. As this is what allows us to soar into the sky in our high notes and shimmer in the middle and make some dark and beautiful rich sounds in the lower, easily in between every partial and everything that we have. So it's important that with our students we just teach them to just shut up and kind of, if I can just imagine it's a dark and gloomy day. They're not really that sad about it, but they're kind of sad. But pouting a little bit. It's kind of that. Your face is neutral. You're not that upset, but you're a little upset. Just resting, big chilling. And now that we have shut up our nice and relaxed Mr. Coffee Pot lid, we're going to introduce the coffee, if you would, the air that pours out into our container, the head joint. And so air really starts within. And so we have to first learn to take a big breath. And a way that I have really developed my breath and being able to take a full inhale is take your flute. You cover this, and if it's the whole body, you just push down all your keys. And roll the tone hole to your lips here. It's an interactive way to have kids kind of adjust to the feeling of just being here and rolling it in, while also helping them develop a breath. So, hand off. Now, and if you really want to get them interactive with it, you can make them do all kinds of cool little whistles and buzzes. Some call it the train whistle, or sometimes if they get really good, it's called the airplane whistle. And if you want to experiment with that, have a good time. So now that we got them breathing, I would suggest trying to practice just counting off 4 beats, inhaling, exhaling for 4 beats. So like maybe something like 1, 2, ready, breathe. 1, 2, ready, breathe. And just trying various ways to implement focusing your air and trying to extend it and develop your lungs and making sure, I noticed a little bit on myself even, that I had a little tension through here and just making sure they're really supporting from their good hamburger eating gut right here. These are your hamburger eating muscles, and I like to think of taking a big bite of something whenever I'm breathing in, just because you enjoy good food, you're about to enjoy making good music, right? So now that we've breathed a little bit, we're going to make sure that we instill the good breath. So before we have them visualize playing the note, we want to make sure they breathe. And whenever it comes to activating the sound in this flute, it's kind of setting it up like a game to them. I like to think that in here is a goal, kind of like a basketball hoop. And my air is the ball, and I really want to score the best points possible by hitting that mark over and over and over, dunking and dunking and dunking. So I like to think, to tell them, imagine your hoop in there, and that your air is the ball that you want it to go through. So, and to help guide your air, you can think of it coming out and trying to go towards your elbow. So air coming out and down into the hole. Now, honestly, their first sound's not going to sound like that. And if it does, send them to Y-Pass. Any type of performing school, go them. Because it's taken me years and years just to get a good first sound on my head joint. And it's just crucial that you keep enforcing that and make sure that they breathe as they do it. And I will demonstrate that exercise and how it should be demonstrated. So 1, 2, ready, breathe. 2, ready, and again. And just try to further the limitations of that every day as their body develops with it. And it's very important to understand that their lips are going to change because they're really figuring this out. And if you notice any type of tension here, bring back Mr. Coffee Pot to reiterate that it's not that bad. We should not stress trying to play the flute because truthfully, this instrument is a guide that is helping us make wonderful music. Our bodies are what sets up the true beauty. So if you would like to reattach your head joint and making sure when they put it back on, it's in the same alignment as before. And tricks for this is that you can always take a marker or some silver tape and mark on the body of the flute where they had it. I've done this my whole 7th grade life, and honestly, I think I still struggle every day with setting up my flute. You'll see me do this 100 times. But now that's back, remember, before they even put up the flute, address. Sandbags on your elbows, support from your wrist, resting here, arm out, flute is being brought to you and you are meeting it. So here we go, it'll show the light. And now that we're here, I honestly would just suggest teaching them B flat. Easy, and it's well supported in the body. So from here, you're going to want to tell them first bear claw, second thumb bear claw, fourth bear claw, pinky. Here we are. You can try and make a little song out of it. There's so many great ways you can just teach kids fingerings, color coding, and I will try to make a video on that one day too. So once you have made sure they understand that, make sure they know B flat. Let's bring them up here, and we're going to do breathing. 1, 2, 3, 4. Two, 3, 4. Beat 2, 3, 4. And really, I think everything you just led them through will be a culture shock in general. So I believe that this is a great first start for any flute player, and I hope that it's helped you. And if you have any questions or want to know more, I have a bio, I have a contact page. I am always looking for more resources and trying to help, and I hope that you have a great day.